Cheers to the weekend, y'all. Happy Saturday. It's a beautiful day in Chicago. What's up? What's up? How's it going, y'all? How's life? How y'all living? It's Saturday. It's the weekend. Hopefully y'all are relaxed and maybe having some self-care days. Or getting straight to the business. Appreciate the love. Oh, nah. Oh, man, y'all comments are wild. What's up?
Hi, Brittany.
How's it going? How's it going? Oh, is that windows behind you?
Yeah, let me adjust the thing.
Oh, you're good. You live in lavish out there in SF.
I am. God is good.
All the time. How's your weekend been?
It's been pretty good. It's been pretty good. I got my workout in this morning. Amazon delivered my chocolate protein powder, so I was able to get my protein smoothie in. I cannot complain.
Are you like a vegetarian too, or do you eat meat?
I eat meat, yeah. I feel
Okay.
like so I track my macros now, and I work with a nutritionist.
Hmm.
And so when we were just looking at my protein intake, it just wasn't it wasn't helping me hit my macro goals. And so to help increase and meet that goal,
Hmm.
that's where the powder comes in.
Facts. Facts. I ran 2 miles today, so I thought I was doing it. And maybe not. I gotta eat better now.
No, yeah, I mean, it's both. It's definitely both. And we'll get into a lot when we're talking about saving for retirement. But I feel like any trainer will tell you it's nutrition and exercise. And my trainer definitely tells me you cannot out train a trash diet. And so, girl,
Ooh,
it's
gotta write
definitely,
that down.
yeah, shout out to Trio Fitness. They out in Philly doing their thing. But yeah, it's both.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. Be Great, Good to Great. Man, we got 2 episodes left today and tomorrow. I appreciate y'all for listening. Today we have, oh my gosh, we're gonna have so many gems drop, so much knowledge. I got Jamese with me, Miss 401ks, which y'all can call her. I met Jamese at a program called MLT, and it was career prep. I think we were class of 2013 back in the days. And it gave us opportunities to get our foot in the door to places that we naturally wouldn't have as minorities, young minorities. And it's in many areas. We specifically did areas of business, but they have engineering, I think law, and other areas as well. So that's how we met. But without further ado, Janice, I want you to give a little background to the people who are listening about you and then what you do now.
Yeah, so first of all, I'm so excited to be here and thanks for having me on this episode. And I absolutely adore you. I mentioned on our
Thank
call
you.
earlier today that even though we haven't spoken in so long, when I get on Facebook and I see all your, lavish and extravagant trips and pics, I'm like, oh my God, there go Brittany. And it feels like we've, spoken recently, even though we haven't. But a little bit about me. I'm originally from Chicago, born and raised on the
Whoop,
west
whoop.
side of the city, K-Town to be exact. And grew up there. Went to Whitney Young High School. High school is really big for people from Chicago. So anybody on live that's from Chicago, they already know Whitney Young. Go Dolphins. And went to Northwestern for undergrad. So I studied sociology there. When I got to college, was like one of the first in my family to go to college. My brother, who's 3 years older than me, he went to college as well. But just that whole figuring it out process, what do I want to major in? I was undecided for the longest because like, how do you decide? Also, what is the
Right.
syllabus? What are office hours and all of that? But so I get there, I take a sociology class, fall in love with the content that we're discussing and the problems we're exploring, like inequality, race, class, power, all these things that I don't know, you just, I guess, don't learn outside of a sociology class,
Mm-hmm.
but study sociology, did programs like MLT, SEO, um, like financial stability and security was very important for me. So I was very focused on finding a job after college. I'll never forget freshman year of college, I studied abroad, and I was telling a friend, like, yeah, I'm applying to the study abroad program. I'm planning to go to Spain. And she was like, oh, girl, study abroad is for junior year. And I was like, girl, I will be at an investment banking internship my junior summer. So I don't know who told you study abroad was junior summer, but go have fun. So I studied abroad freshman summer. Sophomore summer, did an internship at Google. Junior summer was out in New York. So the Google was actually out where I'm at right now in San Francisco. Then the following summer, junior year, went to New York to do investment banking at Bank of America through SEO, Sponsors for Education Opportunities, which is a program, career prep program similar to MLT, the one Brittany mentioned. Throughout that process, just trying to figure out what to do. Another thing I'll share is while I was undecided about my major, I talked to my mentor, Scott, and I was like, Scott, like, I don't know what to study. And he's a financial advisor. I was like, if I want to become an advisor, like, I must have to study econ, right? He was like, well, not exactly. I was like, yeah, because if I do econ, I'm not going to graduate with a GPA. Like, I'm basically not going to be able to pass any classes. I'm not going to get a Northwestern degree like this. No, like econ was super hard. It was like the intro classes were weed out classes, and I had never heard of econ before, and all these things. So the advice he gave me, and it was such sound advice, was he said, study something that you enjoy. Choose a major that's something that you enjoy, because this investment stuff, this financial advisor stuff, he was like, I can teach you this. You can learn this. And like, you don't need an econ degree to learn it. Northwestern doesn't have a business degree, but same thing. Like, study something that you can be good at. So I was really great at sociology with the writing, the research. I even completed a thesis while I was at Northwestern. It was on the unbanked. So I studied saving accounts among low-income African American households, and I did interviews, and it was such a heartfelt academic experience, because I was able to go back to my hometown and do research on people there who either had savings accounts, did not have savings accounts, and understand the differences between, how did, these people in these same backgrounds and experiences, myself included, end up in one bucket versus the other. And that's like the whole college stint. And I'll just fast forward and say, found out about Vanguard through MLT, worked at Vanguard, did a rotational program there straight out of college. For those who don't know, Vanguard is an investment management company. It's a retirement plan company. It has over $4 trillion in assets under management. They're headquartered in Malvern, Pennsylvania. So I lived in the city because I'm a city girl, lived in Philly, and then commuted out to Malvern for work. In the first few years there, I was like a research analyst, investment analyst, and was on the phone with customers answering client questions about the 401ks, and then eventually made my way to this very unique group called the Retirement Education Specialist Group. So I got to literally, oh my God, travel across the country and go to all these company sites. I'm going to BCG, Boston Consulting Group. I'm at Amazon. I'm at Michelin Tires. And I'm literally showing up. I'm the Vanguard person, or they call me, they say, are you the retirement lady? Are you the 401k lady? Especially not going places like Ohio and stuff. I was like, yeah, like, because we would either set up a booth to do like fairs, or we would do group education presentations, or I would do one-on-one coaching. And so I did that for 2 years at Vanguard, and then recently transitioned to California. So I'm in San Francisco right now. And when outside was still open, I would commute out into Mountain View to go to work. And I'm in tech now, so I do user experience research. And so I still, which is awesome, get to talk to clients. I get to leverage that skill set I have, which is building empathy and like asking important questions and understanding what are the goals you're trying to accomplish, and understanding, okay, this product we're providing you, how is it meeting those goals? What pain points do you still have? And then the research that I do in turn at Google, we're able to say, okay, how can we use that to improve the product? How can we use that to improve the experience? So when I was transitioning to user experience research, some people didn't see the connection, but I saw it, and that was what was most important. And the person interviewing me saw it, and the career coach I worked with, shout out to my career coach, Dorian over at Your Career Girl, she saw the connection, right? And so it's like, I think the biggest, and this is, I don't know if I've dropped any gems yet, but I'll drop one now. The gem that she taught me is all your experiences matter, right? So if somebody looks at me and they're like, a retirement education specialist delivering presentations, like basically what you're doing is like you're really limiting what I do, and you're, and I was guilty of doing this too, but you're downplaying the breadth and the depth of my skill set, right? And like all the experiences I've had that come together to make me this amazing user experience researcher I am, as well as this amazing 401k education coach that I continue to be. And so that's a bit about my background.
I just found out today when you said UX, I'm like, is this coding? What the heck is this? I was like, oh, UX, user experience. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Slow. I'm slow sometimes. But I think you did drop a lot of gems, right? Because I think one thing you were saying without kind of specifically saying it is that it was a journey that you did, right? Like you did all these, even since Whitney Young up until where you are now in SF, you've traveled around, right? You've met so many people. You got to see different walks of life, different careers, and what you wanted. And it's been a journey, right? So you wanting to travel to Spain, right? I think even from people in Chicago now, not a lot of people get the opportunity to travel outside of the country, right? So was that your first time going outside of the country?
Yeah, girl, you taking me down memory lane. I have another story to share. So I'll never forget. I was on the west side at my aunt's house on my dad's side, and I was sitting on the couch, and my aunt and I were talking, and I'm like, casually talking about this study abroad program I'm about to go and participate in. And at this point, I've interned in downtown Chicago at Standard & Poor's. I've traveled to downtown Chicago. People at Whitney Young live on the south side. I've gone out to the south side of Chicago. And my auntie Lonnie, she does a really great job of just helping keep me grounded and understand my experiences. She says, Jamese, there are some people in Chicago right now on the west side who have never been downtown. So we talking global. We talking you going to Spain. There are people who have never left the city of Chicago. There are people who have never left the state of Illinois. At the age of 14, I was on a plane flying to New York by myself.
Wow.
I danced with this dance group on the west side of Chicago called Don't Sweat Me. And we were on, I don't know if y'all remember this, 106 and Park, Wildin' Out Wednesdays. And all I knew was I was trying to be a part of the action, but my 8th grade graduation was the same day that they were driving to New York. And so I was letting everybody know I'm missing out on that graduation this year because we got a competition in New York.
Right.
And the adults in my village and stuff, they was like, oh, no, you walking across that stage. You not missing no graduation. And I'll never forget, Miss Jones was like, go talk to Miss Black. Go ask her. She know how to do that internet stuff. Go ask her, see if she can get you a flight or something. And so I talked to Miss Black. I'm like, hey, Miss Black, I'm planning on not going to my graduation because we competing on Wild Now Wednesday, 106 and Park, and they driving down the same day as, the weekend of my graduation. So to your point about study abroad, and I forget what your actual question was, let me know if I don't answer it. I didn't realize how amazing and big of a feat. It's like, for me, everything was like, this is what it's supposed to be, even though it wasn't that, and it shouldn't be that statistically coming from where I come from. This is what it is, and God put it in my heart, which I just thank God for that. It was like that vision, that discernment, that determination, like everything that I come from, everything that I've been through, every struggle, trial, tribulation, God has always made it to where, okay, sis, like, how are we going to come out on top? How are we going to make the most of this? How are we going to grow from this? And we'll probably get into this a bit, but I would love to share with folks, too, this concept of failing and succeeding. I had to learn the hard way, the true definition of failure. So this is what failure is not. Failure is not making mistakes, right? Failure is not being perfect. Failure is not getting something wrong. What failure is not trying. Fair is failing is fearing not trying and allowing that fear to stop you from ever trying. What failure is not. Failure is not feeling the fear, doing it anyway, and making mistakes. That's not failure. That's success. Right? And I just got so much I want to share because this is really the first Q&A and interview I've ever done. But I told one of my friends, because these are the type of friends I have, Whitney Young, Morehouse Man, I told him, I want to start a deep dish company. I want to do a franchise. Giordano's in LA. I want to go do that. So the conversation we having is, okay, bet, like, this who I know who own the pizza shop, this who I connect you with. And I was like, yeah, but like, some people have told me, like, well, you know, what if it don't work out? He was like, worst case scenario, you trying to be an entrepreneur don't work out. You go back to being an employee. You go back to working for somebody. You go back to the exact same spot you're at right now. If ground zero for me is collecting a steady paycheck from a 9-to-5 job with benefits,
Tell them.
living in California, if that's that's not failure. It's like, what is failure? Failure is you deciding, the pizza, the dough, the cheese, I just can't. It's like, no, like, and mind you, I've pivoted since then. I don't plan on opening a franchise in LA, but I do plan on building Miss 401k, right? But imagine if I never explored this concept of entrepreneurship and never let the idea of the franchise be it. You have nothing to pivot from. You just stay at ground zero, overcome with fear, doubt, right? And you never take the step forward. You never get in the car. You never start driving. You never learn anything because you're just sitting there. And John Henry, he says this well, like, the person who does it and, like, executes, like, they know 10 times as much as you do now, sitting back there critiquing them, complaining, being afraid, letting other people get in your way, you get in your own way. And so I'll stop there so we can get back on track with your question.
I love this. And also, this is, guys, so you guys listen, this is a live Q&A, right? So if you have any questions for Jamese, please put them in the comments or the Q&A box. So I do want to go over some of these comments we got. Like, we got, you're so amazing. Haven't heard this story before. It's good with the T at the end. Preach. Learning from your past is the most important part. I 100% agree with you. You got a question, how old are you? Because you're wise beyond your years.
Thank you. I'm 28. I'll be 29 in October.
Hey.
Yeah.
That make you a Scorpio?
A Libra.
A Libra. Okay. So tell me about Miss 401k, right? Like, what is Miss 401k and how did that even come about?
Okay, so what is Miss 401k? How did it come about? There's a long and a short. The short is Miss 401k is me taking the skill set that I gained and that I honed as a Vanguard employee serving Vanguard clients, and me flipping that and turning it into my own brand using the skills that I have to serve more people. So at Vanguard, right, when I'm traveling, and oh my God, such an amazing job. Like, okay, so this, you'll relate to this, Brittany, because you're a consultant. I was like, oh my God, I hated investment banking. Consulting is the cousin of banking, and I want to travel, but I'm gonna never be able to travel because I'm never becoming a consultant because I know I'm gonna hate it. And then God was like, boop, boop, boop. Here's a job using your skill set. You'll love it. And you're going to learn about 401ks, which are important. And you're going to travel 80% in your job. Girl, I got so many miles and hotel points and car rental points. But okay, so Miss 401k is me taking that skill set and translating into my own brand. I went to so many conferences in 2018 and some in 2019, but 2018 especially. One of them was called Build Your Own Business, BYOB. I would definitely look into that conference. It was amazing. When you show up there, it's just a bunch of young, Black specifically, but people color, but Black people specifically, on they SHIT. They got businesses, they got brands, they got income, they got clients, they got skills, they got confidence. They just got the whole thing. I'm looking at them and I'm like, I was like, I see myself in a lot of y'all, but I'm not thinking the way y'all thinking. I'm not moving the way y'all are moving. And they start just the one event that the brand threw in Philly, they also threw in Chicago. And like a lot of people on the panel were just talking about books that they had read, The Alchemist, the 4-Hour Work Week, the Four Agreements, all these books. And after you share this and I share, I'm happy to like drop those titles in there. But I'll share the ones that can come to mind for me. Some I haven't even read yet. Cysteine something. But it's basically like what I saw, because I saw us as equals. But the difference was like they had transformed their minds. They weren't thinking and operating like employees. They were thinking and operating like CEOs. And even if they had a company or not, they were the CEOs of their lives. And so for me, almost Miss 401k is like me becoming the CEO of my life and the CEO of my skills. And like, what is my brand, right? If I'm an employee, is that all that I am? Who are you? What do you do? I work for Vanguard. I'm a Vanguard employee. Like, who are you? Well, right now I'm doing user experience research at Google, but I also have this Miss 401k education brand and company that allows me to help my community prepare for a more secure financial future by using their 401ks to do so. What qualifies you to do that? Well, I spent the past 5 years working at one of the largest investment management companies, but then I would say the 5 years before that, I was involved in different financial institutions and organizations, being trained and prepped for the very work that I'm doing now. And what's interesting is that for a while, they call it cognitive distortion, they call it imposter syndrome, but for a while, I wasn't really able to acknowledge like my excellence, and I wasn't able to acknowledge all that I knew. And even now, as a 401k expert, it's like you get in this rat race of perfectionism where you want to just like learn more and more and more and more. But then you find that if you just learning, but you're not sharing any of it, what real impact are you having, or what are you doing?
Yeah. I agree with the sign that you just had.
And so that's why I'm really good at being honest with myself. I'm not gonna eat like crap, work out in the gym real hard, and be like, why am I not seeing results? I'm gonna be like, you're eating like crap, you're working out in the gym, you're not seeing results. Like, I'm just like, how can I reach that point of neutrality and reality? And so it was okay, you want to have an impact and you feel like you're not. There are things you could do differently in order to start having an impact. And one of those things is starting Miss 401k and creating an opportunity for folks to work with you and for you to be of service to them.
So how can people like use your services, right? Like, how do they reach out and try to get in contact with you?
Yeah, so the Miss 401k Instagram account that I'm on right now, they can visit the link in the bio to set up one-on-one coaching time with me. But I would say outside of that, if folks have like questions, they can always feel free to comment underneath the financial education content that I share. Really any posts in the captions, I like to like have open-ended questions or ask folks like, what are you interested in learning more about? What's confusing to you? But if like you don't want to put that in the public and you want to DM me on Miss 401k, you definitely can. But I would say if you're looking for more specialized, like tailored coaching, and you have like specific questions about your actual situation, you can sign up for a one-on-one session. And then I'm here now, so if you have questions, I'm happy to answer those now too.
And we got some comments that said, this is inspirational. I need to be immersed and surrounded by that type of energy. And imposter syndrome is so real. So how would you say people can be surrounded by this energy, right? Because I think maybe one, you said is going to conferences. And I think being around that energy starts to, when you see somebody, like, I think that's me for MLT. I thought I was doing it at my college, right? I was SIU. I was like, I'm student body president. I'm president of my sorority. Like, I'm getting there, right? It's great.
Yeah.
And then I go to MLT and SEO and I see you guys killing it. And I'm like, man, y'all are like boo-booing on me. Like, I'm not doing anything out here. Like, wow, I have much more to go. But that inspired me because you guys were always so down to earth, great people. Like, yeah, hit me up. Let's all hang out. Let's keep motivating each other. But what puts you or how can people be surrounded by that energy if they're not around it right now?
Yeah, you want to know an easy way to do it?
What?
Instagram. No, seriously. Like, you hear people talking about the Instagram experience and how you curate that. Like, y'all, at one point I was following 3,000 plus people on Instagram. And this was at a time when I didn't know Instagram to be a business tool. This is when, it's like social media, Facebook, Instagram, like pictures, like, scroll. But
Waste
now
hours.
waste time, right? But now I feel like, I don't know if this is the case, but like the apps just seem that much more like addictive, or you're on them that much longer, right? But when you get on Instagram, how do you feel? When you look at people's pictures, how do you feel? When you get off Instagram, how do you feel? Some of that is a reflection of, how, like, that self-talk and what you're telling yourself when you see these things. But the other part of it is, what are you seeing, right? Are you seeing surgically, plastically created Instagram bodies, or are you seeing like natural ones? Are you seeing people posting about all that they have and like trying to make you feel bad about what they have, or do you see people sharing what they have and talking about how they got there and how they want you to get there too, right? I follow my leak on Instagram. Following her was a game changer. But I would say follow people who follow accounts that provide inspiring content and that help put you in that place, and unfollow the content. And it's no shade, right? But like, whatever you're following, if it don't make you feel good, that's enough reason for you to unfollow it. No
What if it's
explanation.
like your friends?
If it's your
Not
account,
close friends, but
no. Everybody, even if it's your mama, if it's your cousin, if it's your auntie, whoever you're following, this is like, you're curating that experience for yourself. You're spending time on Instagram. That's like you being like, what if it's my cousin's house whose house I go to, and like I'm not happy there? Spend less time there. In this case, we're online, so we just are able to unfollow. So yeah, how do you create that? So yeah, Instagram is the first quick, easy stop. The other one is going to be conferences. So especially when outside opens back up and you're able to go to the conferences in person. But, if you could catch like one online, do that too. And the other one is like your friends, but then the other one is yourself. And then the other one is God. And it's probably like you got to go in reverse order in terms of importance. But God is number one. If you don't have a relationship with him, I would encourage you to get one, or some higher being, because that groundedness and that rootedness and that peace beyond understanding. Because when I think about the challenges I've gone through, the tribulations, and my upbringing, like basically, like they say, from where I come from, I'm not supposed to be here, but I am. 6-figure 401k account, internships at Google, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, doing investment banking, doing user experience research, working in tech, working in financial services. And mind you, there aren't a lot of people like us who are in these spaces, which, at some point I hope this 401k can help change and transform as well. But there's something about knowing that he is who he is, and he is a constant force, and he is someone you can constantly rely upon and talk to and depend on. Okay, my mentor, Scott, he told me when I was working in a job I hated, he was like, why don't you just quit? And I was like, well, just quit with nothing lined up. And he was like, like, worst case scenario, you blow through all your savings. And he's like, you could always come live at my house with my family. And when he said that, I was like, so you telling me if I run out of money, I still got a place to live? Because before that, it's just like, well, I don't come from money, so we ain't really got like that. So if you're not out here grinding and surviving on your own, like you better think about that. But just the fact we had that conversation, I was able to take my imagination there. I was like, wow. But it's like your real dependency there, it's not on your mentor, Scott, who has somewhere in the basement you can sleep. It's on God, who brings people into your life like that, who can provide for you, because that's God providing for you. Because how did I meet Scott? I met Scott in high school through a scholarship program. Like, it's like God brings people and opportunities into your life, and he brings it to you in the most faithful way once you've shown him that you are faithful to him. Because he done worked out so much stuff for me. But God, yourself. So with yourself, therapy,
Yes.
coaching. I am an avid consumer of coaching. Like, I work with a career coach to transition from Vanguard to Google, from financial services to tech. I work with a trainer, that's a coach, to help me achieve fitness goals. I work with a nutritionist. I came on here talking about the nutritionist and macros. I didn't know what no macro was. Right. And then it's like, and that's a whole nother process, because then it's like, I don't know what a macro is. And now I know, I can remember protein, but I keep forgetting the other two. But now I can name them. It's protein, fat, and carbs. But okay, this is all from coaching. I paid to work with the coach, and she helped me. So coaches, you got to keep working on yourself. Coaches help you work on yourself. Mentors, right? They've been through what you've been through already. So they have that foresight. They made the mistake, so you don't have to make the mistake either. How else can you work on yourself? Your mind, fitness, meditation, right? I'm not deep on meditation, but if my mind is like this, I'm going here for 5 minutes. Deep breathing exercises and what they call mindfulness breathing techniques. So working on yourself. There's so many ways you can work on yourself, but I want to be very specific. So those are specific ways you can work on yourself, and other people can help you work on yourself. I also work with a stylist, because I was like, I want to spruce up my style. I want to learn how to dress my body, because that's the thing. Oh my God, I want to share this. Look, when we go to school, and let's say you graduate from high school age 18, you have literally had a coach from when you were little all the way up to age 18. The coaches were your teachers. The coaches were your, I ran track and field in high school. The coaches were your coaches. The coaches were your captains, right? Everybody's there. Hell, when you are in the first grade, when first grade is up, they be like, time's up. Second grade's next. Third grade, fifth, eighth, you go. When you hit real life after high school, after college, there are no more quarter systems. There are no more semesters. And I think that's why so many people go back to grad school, because it's like, whew, Lord, give me some structure. So basically, we're in this position where we have to create structure for ourselves. We have to manage our own lives, right? We are at work and we're managing these projects. If we think about our lives as a project, we're the project managers. And like, I don't know, I didn't study project management in school. So in order to get the skills, right, you got to just keep learning and keep learning. So continue to develop yourself. And then you got I mentioned the conferences, and then I mentioned social media.
Those are all great outlets. Like, all those put together, right? It's like you already got a business going on, and you got like YouTube, Google, other things to even just start to get the basic research on. But I want to address some questions that we got. So one isn't there a certain way that you set up your 401k to where you can choose your income bracket after you retire and start getting your money?
I don't understand the question, so I'm going to go, but I see it here. I'm going to read it.
Okay.
Isn't there a certain way that you set up your 401k to where you can choose your income bracket after you retire and start getting your money? So what's interesting about saving for retirement, and I learned this when I was delivering these education presentations to folks, we spend a lot of time talking about the savings part. It's like, oh, I'm saving. I should be saving. I got to save. I got to invest. And the part that I had to learn in my old job, and I'm so grateful for that job, was there's this other part of the equation, which is when it's time to start spending the money. And that's called retirement income. So you have your retirement savings. So you're saving, and you're in what they call the accumulation phase. So you're accumulating your savings, and that money is growing because it's invested, right? And then that pivot point is, and I'm speaking very traditionally here, right, of like, I plan to retire at this age, and at this point, I'm not going to work anymore. This is before the age of social media and YouTube University and people just, having jobs in the gig economy, right? But let's say you retire. Now, what's important to recognize is when you save for retirement, how do you save for retirement? How does money get into your 401k?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Oh,
or in the audience.
From my job, I set a percentage aside. I think the lowest is like, well, you can actually do
how
zero.
How does the money get in the account?
Oh, through my paycheck?
Through your paycheck.
Yeah.
Through paycheck deductions.
Yes.
That's the only way you can get money into a 401k. Okay? So when you stop working, can you still put money in your 401k? No, because contributions to the 401k come through paycheck deductions. So once you hit that status, right, you're no longer an accumulator status. You're ready to start spending it. You're at retirement age, let's say 65, right? Now you're talking about income, right? So to this person's question, in retirement, your income is no longer based upon how much you, and let's say I work at Vanguard. My income is no longer based upon how much I make working at Vanguard, because I don't work at Vanguard anymore. I'm retired. So my income is going to be based upon how much money I pull from that retirement account each year. And then there's this other concept called the 4% spending rule, which a lot of people aren't as familiar with, but that has to do with how much you're spending from that account. Because when you save for retirement, you're saving up this big pot of money, because what we're used to is a paycheck coming in every pay period. When you go over here, and this is right, retirement, your paychecks is the money that you pay yourself from that bucket of money that you saved up. Your paychecks are going to be Social Security payments. Your paychecks are going to be money from your IRA, your individual retirement account. So there's this accumulation phase and there's a spending phase. And to that person's point, yes, your basically like your tax bracket is going to be determined upon how much you made that year, which is determined upon how much you withdrew from those accounts that you owe taxes on. And then we get into pre-tax versus Roth, which is another conversation.
Got it. And then another, we have another question too. This is in the Q&A box that I'll pop up. Here it is. Where did Jamese find funding for conferences?
Ooh. So guys, the reality is my company wasn't paying for it. That's the reality. But on the flip side, my company was paying for it, because who was giving me my paycheck every 2 weeks?
Sure.
I'm just saying, right? So your company doesn't dictate where you spend your money. Once that paycheck hits your account, right? And that's it's so interesting. When it comes to saving for retirement, when I would talk to clients, it's like we're talking about retirement, but I feel like what comes before that is like a budget, because like on that budget line item, it's going to be something about retirement, something about vacation, your emergency savings fund, you got saving for retirement, then you got, I retired and I'm spending in retirement. So that question just made me think about budgeting and having money set aside to pay for conferences. So let's go beyond that though. Some companies do provide sponsorship, so you can look into that. And then the other thing is some conferences provide scholarships, so you can like go directly to the one conference I paid for. This girl, she was about to help me get a scholarship. She was like, here, like apply for this, like you can get it. It's your first time going to the conference, et cetera, et cetera. I was blessed in a position where I'm like, look, I will pay for the conference, because like if I had to choose between filling out the application and doing this other stuff I gotta do, I just gotta do this other stuff. But if you had talked to me when I was in high school trying to get to college, what application? I will stay up all night long. I will fill this thing out. Do you have any more I can fill out? Because I don't have any money to pay for college, and the more money you give me, the better off I will be. And so, yeah, I was like the scholarship junkie in high school. I would like apply for every scholarship that I qualified for. I was a Gates Millennium Scholar.
Oh, that's
which
awesome.
was like a huge blessing, right? They pay for everything. And so I would say, all in all, don't make it, because this is something I used to struggle with. Don't make it an all or nothing thing. Don't make it either I got the money for the conference or I don't. Either I go or I don't. If you want to go to conferences, that's a goal you have. Work toward that goal. Whether it's a free conference that you attend virtually, a conference that doesn't cost as much, and you save money to pay for one that does cost more. You figuring out ways to cut back on spending in other areas. Yeah, I just don't throw out the idea of going to conferences, because you can't make sense of how you can make it happen today.
Got it. I love that. Yeah, I love scholarships too. I had a scholarship coach actually in high school. I think I applied for like 200 of them and only got like 7, but it covered majority of my college. So I was like, oh, this is beautiful. Beautiful. We got another question that says, how do you stay accountable to your goals? Do you use feedback analysis?
What's feedback analysis?
Yeah, I want to know what that is too. That sounds cool.
Okay, so accountability with my goals. I told y'all I'm like a coach junkie, and I like really believe in paying to work with quality coaches who can help me achieve the goal I want to accomplish. I participated for one goal in this mastermind called Make Moves Mastermind, because I was like, I really want to, build a blog or like do something. I don't know what I want to do. And that was part of the problem. I don't know what I want to do. I need to figure it out. And there was this person out there who was able to help me to figure it out. And for those who aren't familiar with what a mastermind is, it's basically like, apparently the majority do it. And so I'm just trying to, get in there with the majority. They just like come together, and it's like, if this person, this business owner has a problem, we as business owners are coming to hear what that person's problem is. And we as business owners have either been through that, or 5 brains is better than 1 brain, and we solution around it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the mastermind program, let's say it was like 8 weeks long. Each week we would come together, and it would be that type of setup where it's like, okay, Jamese, what are you going to accomplish today? Jamese, she's like, oh, I want to do I want to do all this stuff, and then you end up getting nothing done. So what the mastermind helped me to do was say, no, just one thing. And like for me, I'm like, oh, perfectionist, all this other stuff, just one thing. And it's like, yeah, because you've done 0 things trying to do 100 things. So just one thing, so you can actually do something. And so it was such a tough fight. And even when I had my consultation call with her, she's like, so what's the one thing you're going to focus on? I was like, if I focus on building a blog, then what about becoming fluent in Spanish and launching my own business and transitioning career and like all these other things you want to do? And so she had to help me to transform my thinking to the point where it's like, it's not now or never. It's we're going to do this now, and we're going to do that not right now. Right? So it's not.
That's a good way.
All my other dreams have just fallen by the wayside, and I will never address them again.
You helping me right now.
Because look, I want to invest in real estate. I want to live in LA. I want to live in Atlanta. I cannot live in all 3 places at once right now. Like, just, I'm sure somebody will be like, yes, you can. You can do this. You can do that. I cannot. I'm here, right? Real estate. Like, my focus right now is not investing in my real estate knowledge. It's not investing in real estate. But it's not now or never. It's just not right now for me.
Mm-hmm.
So getting back to the question, sometimes you don't know what your goals are. When I came to that girl, I was just like, I want to do something, right? So sometimes you need to get clear on what your goals are. Then once you are clear on that, the accountability, I'm honest with myself, but I had to be kind to myself, right? Honesty used to look like, girl, you need to get up and do something. You are just you this, you that. That's that negative self-talk you don't need, right? So you have to start to scratch that out and tape over it. Because what if you're not working on something because you're tired? What if you're exhausted? What if it's a really busy work week, right? And so even like, okay, so I was going through this accelerator program called First Founders. I'm also a program junkie, if you can't tell. I'm always participating. Maybe that's my answer. I participate in programs with people who are further ahead than me, more knowledgeable than I am, who are basically like where I want to be, doing what I want to do. This guy created this program called First Founders, and he's like an entrepreneur. He has multiple startups, and he wants to help other people who want to achieve that do it. Y'all, the program is free. You should look it up. If you want to start a business, or you want to create a startup, like this is like it was like, so Harlem Capital, they're a venture capital fund, and they're like, they're, I would say like advanced. With this program, I was able to come in, and it wasn't required for me to be advanced. All it was required for me to want to participate and show up and give my all, and I could do that. And so I think going after your goals with someone who knows what they're doing and what they're talking about is a really great way to help keep you accountable. You don't have to keep your, in this day and age, and I don't know about the previous day and age, you don't have to keep yourself accountable. And sometimes your friends can help you. Sometimes you need a coach, because sometimes you might be working on something that your friends aren't working on, or that your friends aren't interested in. And is that going to be what starts and stops for you? Oh, they not, so I'm not. Oh, they couldn't, so I can't. Right. And so accountability. Did I answer the question?
You did. She gave what she said feedback analysis is. She said setting a goal and a time limit to accomplish it, and then checking in with yourself to assess it, if or how you accomplished that goal. And if you didn't, analyze what stopped you from doing so.
So all of that, but scratch out self and put somebody else. I think Zig Ziglar had the quote that says, or Einstein, he says, the thinking that got you here is not the same thinking that's going to get you out. So the same person who set that goal and had the ambitions of living in California while living in Georgia, while investing in real estate, also becoming a user experience researcher and launch it. Right. You see how the list goes on when I'm doing it for myself. When you bring that coach in, they say, Jamese, no, it's okay, girl. That's not how, let me help you. Right. And I love having friends and coaches and stuff who can come in and help. I don't need you coming into my life, pointing out what I'm doing wrong. I don't need you telling me what I need to fix. I don't need you making me feel worse about myself, and I probably already feel because I'm going hard on myself. I need solutions. I need answers, and I don't just need little petty feedback. I need solution-oriented feedback. I need to drive the needle forward. I need to make the elevator go up. And so everything she just said about that, I love the definition she read. All of that, scratch out the self, because you'll tell yourself, I need to have $1,000 saved by tomorrow. And then you come back and it's not. I'm mad. Why didn't you do it? And now, because you're doing a self-assessment, you going in. You thinking to yourself, not realizing the time frame you gave wasn't like SMART goals, SMART. Something was wrong with one of them letters, right? It wasn't specific enough. It wasn't realistic.
Right.
It wasn't actionable. This is my downfall. I do two things. One, I don't set goals. I just do. Problematic. You got to set the goal, work from there. The other thing I do is I set the goal and then start focusing on something else. And then when it's time to check in on progress, I'm like, why haven't you made progress? Girl, because you haven't been focused on it. You set a whole nother other goal and went down a completely different rabbit hole. And now you're assessing your performance and trying to ask yourself, well, how well did you do according to something you weren't doing? You kind of messed up from the jump because you weren't focused, you weren't working on the goal at all. That's why you haven't made progress. You weren't working on it.
Love it. We also got another comment that said, I think attainable goal setting and going off the momentum of micro accomplishments sets you up for bigger accomplishments and not letting analysis paralysis hold you back.
Let me read it too. I think attainable goal setting and going off the momentum of macro accomplishments. Yeah, so, oh my God, speaking of macro accomplishments, what did that just make pop into my head? So when I was coaching clients and we tell them about paying off, I think credit card debt, we would say focus on paying off that debt that has the smallest balance amount. Let's say you got a credit card outstanding, it's like $75, $80, right? You pay that off. And the reason that you do that is because psychologically it registers you. It's like, whoo, I'm accomplishing them goals, knocking them down, right? Because imagine if you had said, okay, first goal, pay off the $2,000 debt. It's going to take you time to do that. And so you might lose your motivation, to the person's point about momentum. What momentum I'm feeling still paying on this thing weeks later, months later, right?
Yep.
Where's the moment? So giving yourself the opportunity to have that momentum, it sets you up to accomplish. Right, so now that I feel good about myself, I paid off that $75, $80 debt. Ain't no debt I can't pay off, right? So now I'm looking at that $2,000 debt in a more systematic way, in a more strategic way. I'm willing to go after it still because I feel like it's possible. And then analysis paralysis, ooh, that's the devil. Yes, you want to try to avoid that as much as possible.
So for your one-on-one calls, right? I know how's quarantine been affected? I know you were talking before. We're talking about having discounted prices, right? For your coaching calls.
Yeah. So in light of everything with COVID and everything, I create an opportunity for folks to work with me on a discounted basis. And I know with COVID, people have experienced a loss of job, and even COVID aside, some people were in the middle of transitioning jobs, right? Some people have changed companies just because they wanted to without COVID even happening, or just in general, right? The stock market, it fluctuates, it goes up and down, but how many of us are taking personal finance classes in school, right? How many of us are learning about the basic principles of investing? I was so fortunate. I have been so blessed to have God put in me whatever he did for me. Literally, the only reason, I don't think I ever admit this publicly, the only reason I pursued a career in financial services was because I identified that there were these skills and there was this knowledge I did not have and community members around me did not have that I wanted to have, and I knew it helped set me up and my community and my future family up for success. And I would watch women in particular in my life and people I've come across just shrink up and be afraid at the thought of money, right? Just oh, it just makes me nervous. It makes me sweat, right? People have told me this. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, that right there, that's the devil, and I gotta overcome it. I gotta get past it. And what better way to learn about investing than to work at one of the largest investment management companies in the world?
Mm-hmm.
And what better way to make sure you understand the principles of investing than have to teach it to somebody paying clients?
Right.
So it was my job, right? It was my job to learn these things, and it was my job to teach it to other people, and it's still my job. And so I forget why I brought that up, but so I went, I mean, that was many years of experience, right? And this dates back to even before high school and college. This was like a lot of asking questions, being surrounded by experts, asking questions and looking dumb, right? Like, oh, I got a stupid question, all that other mess. There are no stupid questions for me as a coach, right? If you come to me and you have questions about 401ks, there's nothing that's surprising to me, right? I think that in a traditional sense, when you're working with a like financial advisor, right? So one thing I noticed was like the amount of shame that comes with talking about money. I hear more than anything somebody say, I know I should have been, I should probably, and I get that, right? I can't downplay the emotion that comes with money. But what I can kind of reassure folks who work with Miss 401k about is that when you enter into a conversation with us, it's not coming from a place of judgment. It's coming from a place of understanding. I understand what it feels like and means to have a family member who you can't talk to about money. I know what it means to, like, you know, have a credit card but not know what you should be doing with it. I know what it means to have a 401k and not know what you should be doing with it. And I was fortunate enough to pursue a career that helped me to answer those questions. But we need doctors, we need lawyers, we need plumbers, we need electricians. And when people like that will come into to get coaching with me, I'm like, don't be ashamed. If you ask me to leave this office and go out on the front line and do your job right now, I wouldn't be able to do that. I don't eat, live, and breathe manufacturing attire at Michelin. I don't eat, live, and breathe packaging up medication. That's your specialty, right? This is my specialty. Let me help you, right? And so um, uh, I have coaching available, and I guess my key takeaway there was I know that asking for help can be really challenging for some people, and so hopefully I'm able to help people know and put them at ease that if there's anybody you want to ask for help about a 401k, it's me, because I'm going to approach it from a place of understanding and without judgment.
We got another question. I'll leave this with the last one. But how does Jamese decide who to work with as a coach, since it's not free and it's an investment?
Yeah, I think that it's just that I work with the people who are ready to invest in themselves and who are ready to invest in their futures, and really who are wanting to invest in their own education, right? Because my coaching sessions are educational. The same way I've shared stories and analogies here about topics not related to 401ks, I do the exact same thing when we're talking about investing. One time I was talking to a client, and this was through Miss 401k outside of Vanguard, because at Vanguard I just like, I don't know if I could use my examples on y'all clients, and I don't like the restraint that's being placed on my creativity. But with Miss 401k, someone said, well, you talking about investing, I don't even know can you help me understand what a stock is, what a bond is? Are they both risky? And I was like, think about it like this. So a stock and a bond, they're both investments. Yeah, there's some risk with it, but one has a bit more risk than the other. So stocks are considered more risky than bonds. I said, if you jump into a body of water, like, that's risky. Like, you risk drowning, right? But if you put on a life vest, that don't necessarily completely make you not able to drown. You could possibly it's still some possibility, right? Because you're in the water. I said, think of stocks and bonds like that, right? Jump into the water with no life jacket. That also doesn't mean you're going to drown, because you can know how to swim, right? So that's the stock market. It don't mean the stock market going to definitely go up or definitely go down, but one thing that's definitely going to do is it's going to fluctuate, right? And then with bonds, there's risk because you're investing. We're jumping in the water with a life jacket on. There's risk. You're in the water. You're not on ground. But it's not as risky as the stock. And so when the bonds are fluctuating, they might not fluctuate as dramatically as the stocks would. And so when you think about risk, you take on more risk by investing in stocks and then bonds are less risky. And then on average, when you put those together, like that would create something that's more moderate, right? As opposed to all stocks, more risk, all bonds, less risk, a mix of the two, somewhere more moderate. But that was just like a really quick and dirty example I gave her because I want to meet clients where they are. Can I provide another example?
Yeah, go ahead. We have 5 minutes left.
Okay, so the other example I have, and I've been playing around with this idea, is when you go to the nail salon. So for my ladies out there, my mom, she's not like into like nails and stuff. I painted my nails. I did a dang good job. But okay, that's not what we're talking about right now. So if I went to the nail salon for the first time, so when I go into nail salon, this lady say, pick out your color. I say I want white. She said pick out for your toe. I say I want white on both. And then when she asked me, she said, what shape nails you want? I was like, I want a square shape. What kind of polish you want? I want gel polish. Imagine me going to the nail salon the first time and somebody asking me that. Pick out your polish. Where? She gonna be like, girl, on the wall. And I'm like, oh, okay. Go get the color, bring it back to her. She's like, do you want regular? Do you want gel? Do you want S&S? And you're just like, I just want my nails done. Right? So, like, you see how you kind of feel like on edge being asked about these things that you don't really know about. But in life, we was like, well, you need to know about nails. You need to know about investing. You need to know about health insurance. You need to know. It's like in life, we got to know about everything. But the real gag to it is you just got to know people who know about other things. So then you start to know about everything because they do too. And so, yeah, I'm still playing around with that. And I hope to like release it in a blog post. But it's like the person who comes in and can tell you what they want and they know what they want is the person who has like had the experience of going through that. Or heck, I had the lady give me round shaped nails. I felt like I felt really bad. I didn't like the way it looked. And so I learned the hard way. No, you don't like round. You like square, right?
Yeah.
But like maybe if you give me like a coffin round, okay, now I like it. Now but this something you might like better. But yeah, that's that. I'm playing around with different ways to just continue to provide relatable examples to people so they can be more engaged and involved in the conversation.
I want to give a quick comment that someone made. Jamese is the reason that I set up my 401k 2 years ago. She literally held my hand through the process. I am grateful for that because I was able to leverage my 401k for approval for my first home.
Yes,
Wow.
sis. Look at that client testimonial.
Wow.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I was passing out information right and left when I was living. I was like, you got questions? You got questions? I was just like, let me help you because I'm helping myself and I'm helping all these other people who don't look like us. We need help too, okay? So, yeah, I'm so glad to hear that.
We got 2 minutes left. And I like to round out the interview saying, who is being great in your life, right? Who's supporting you, killing it, that you can think of right now?
Everybody in my life. If you're in my life, you're killing it. If you're not in my life, you're not killing it. No, I'm just
thanks. You said I curate my life.
I do curate my life. But my mentor G, shout out to her. It's her birthday tomorrow. My leak, who I don't know personally, but I follow on social media. My mentor Scott, who is in the industry and was one of the reasons I decided to pursue the industry. Raynell, Keisha, like all my friends in general. But I'm just naming out those mentors who kind of helped me. Heck. I'm starting things off on a new foot. So let me thank my parents, my mom and my dad for bringing me into this world. Who else? Shoot, everybody. Harlem Capital Partners, brand your own business. Like the woman who created this nail polish. Everybody who's out here being and doing and not letting fear conquer them. They're being great.
I appreciate you, Jamese, for being on this live, man. You dropped so many gems, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm so glad you came on, man. I wish we had more time to talk about your ultimate goals and some other stuff, man. I had so many more questions, but I really appreciate you and also giving people answers to their questions, right? Like that's awesome, and you're such an inspiration. Even just trying to give back and give knowledge, I love that. I mean, I'm gonna set up my coaching call too because I got my 401k, but somebody balances it for me, and I need help. So.
Yeah. Look, I'm here. Think of me as the Google of 401ks. If you got questions about the 401k, instead of having to go on Google, instead of having to demystify information and determine who's saying it right and wrong, what their motives are, I'm a neutral party. I don't work for Vanguard anymore. I'm a financial educator. So,
love it. Well, I will save this. I'll add it to YouTube. So if you want to share this with anybody after, you can do the same thing. And have a good rest of your day. And thank you, everybody, for staying tuned. And I really appreciate you guys and for all the questions and great comments to Jamese. That was awesome.
Thank you so much.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.